What's up out there? We are back with some more Path of Exile 2, and not very long ago, I did a video on build variety in the game, and one of the big premises was that the Gemcutters screen, it kind of lies to you and doesn't show you all the possible things that are there, and it misleads you by saying that everything on that screen for that particular weapon is for that weapon, and that's not necessarily the case. It also does a couple of other problems, and there's some things that I'd like to see changed. So I'm going to try to show you what I see are all the problems with this, starting with actually picking an uncut skill gem and right-clicking on it to go create a skill. You'll see that this is a ranger, so this is traditionally a bow-based class running a mace. Now, the problem starts when you right-click this because it takes you to the bow skills. It does not take me to the mace skills, which is what I have equipped. The first thing that I think Grinding Gear Games needs to do is detect what weapon you have. Doesn't matter which hand it is. If I have the offhand equipped with a bow and the main one equipped with a mace, then it should understand which hand is equipped at the moment. And when I right click on this this uncut skill gem, it should take me to the skill or the selection of choices for that weapon, not some other random thing, not the class based one, to what I have equipped. It's just a waste of time to have to click on this. It's annoying. I know this is like probably a minor nitpick, but it's annoying, and I've done it enough that as I try all these different builds out, it's getting aggravating to try to do something that is off the class, a different weapon than what they expect. And I think it also presents some other issues because it's starting to make people think that there's a particular lane of traffic that you have to use, that if you're going to use a warrior, you have to use mace skills because it just takes you to mace skills constantly. Or if you're on a ranger, you have to use bow skills. You can never use anything else. I think that's part of what sets the mindset that we're really locked into builds. Part of it. I know there's some in-game issues. I'm not here to debate all that. I just want to talk about the problems that I see with this. A good example of where this lies to you is if you click on mace skills, you would presume that everything on this screen is mace skills. And as I showed in the other video, Infernal Cry empowers attacks. Bows are attacks, says it right there. Spears are attacks, says it right there. Quarterstaff's an attack. Now, Occult and Elemental are not, so we don't have those, but pretty much most of the rest of this stuff is an attack, and it is a martial weapon. So, are included in the martial weapon tag. So Infernal Cry can actually apply to other things like bows and spears and stuff like that. But if I click on bow, I do not get Infernal Cry over here. The other thing is Shockwave Totem goes to any martial weapon and it gives you a list of the martial weapons. And if I was to come in here and I was to type in the word spear, I don't see that Shockwave Totem applies because Shockwave, the tag for this is looking for the word martial, not mace or spear or anything like that. I think another change that they should make is if you search for a specific weapon in the martial weapon category, it should surface that, whether you say attack or whether, this would come up with an attack because it's actually got it written up here. But if you go into the sub tags or whatever you want to call it of axes, bows, claws, crossbows, stuff like that, it does not surface Shockwave Totem as a potential option. So if you go to all gems, type in the word spear, you're only going to see the spear skills. You're not going to see that Shockwave Totem is an option for you. So I would love to see, number one, they detect the weapon you've got so you get to the right page. And number two, that if you go select bow or spear or something like that, you do start seeing other things like Infernal Cry and Shockwave Totem and stuff like that that applies. And it's probably going to take a UI change or something like that. I would love to see all this ditched completely. I don't really want to see it broke down by weapons necessarily. What you have equipped would be good. Like this is a good starter and a good recommendation box, but once I'm starting on my build, I want, what can I use? If I have a mace and a shield equipped or a spear and a shield, I want to see the things that pertain to me, not just what I have equipped, because keep in mind, I'm trying to build or create a new skill. I'm not trying to upgrade one that I already have. That's great for what's equipped, but I'm trying to take what I have equipped, whether it's a bow, a wand, whatever, and I want to see the options that I have. The other problem that the other thing I'd point out, like shield charge has armored shield, so you can use that with anything that's a one-handed weapon. You can basically use this as long as you can put a armored shield on with it. You could use it with like the occult stuff as long as you got a wand on, but you don't see armored shield as an option, or you don't see the shield charge, resonating shield, or shield wall with these. So there's a lot of options here that you don't really get to see. Furthermore, if we go into here and we type in the word spell, you will see that there's Sniper's Mark and Voltaic Mark. However, you'll notice that these are not locked behind any specific weapon. They are shown under bow. Spear has Bloodhound's Mark. Quarterstaff has Charge Staff, but this is a staff one. Even though it's a spell, it's still a staff one. But it does have Freezing Mark, which if I was to put cold on any of my builds, I could use Freezing Mark. I would have never known that unless I typed the word spell in and clicked through all of these to see which ones apply and which ones don't. Now, maces don't have any spells and crossbows don't have any spells, but I think you're kind of getting my point. There's nothing that this menu's great. It kind of leads you down a specific hallway and a path and says this is the way you need to go, but it's very misleading, and that's what I was getting at with my other video. But I've had more time to think about it. And it gets even worse if you come over here. I wasn't really arguing with anybody, but I heard another YouTuber say that heralds were locked behind weapons. And what I thought was if I type the word spear in, I should see the heralds, but I don't. If I type in the word mace, none of the spirit gems are locked behind specific weapons. If I type in wand, there's nothing here. However, if you type in the word martial, you will then see that the heralds are actually locked behind any martial weapon. I didn't quite get what they were saying. And this goes back to the whole thing about being able to search for the things underneath the word martial weapon, or the words martial weapon, because I'm searching for spears and I don't see anything that says I can't use these or that these work with specific weapons or not, because it's all under this martial tag. And that's what really got me to this. And I didn't understand what they were saying about the heralds being locked behind weapons, because you search for a spear and it doesn't show up. However, if you use the keyword search for martial, you absolutely do only get the heralds and wind dancer and stuff like that. But now, whether these should be locked behind this, I'm not here to debate any of that. I'm talking about the UI and how it just kind of leads you down a path. And same thing on this one. If I clear this out and click on Ranger, it's going to tell me that I can use Herald of Plague and Herald of Thunder and stuff like that. But what if I have a sorceress that's running running a mace with some poison builds or something like that? I would never know that I could use a herald on here because it doesn't show up. It's not even an option. I can go with equipped. Once again, we run into the problem that I don't have anything equipped, or I'm trying to select one or a second one. Either I'm selecting a first one, a second one, or I'm just trying to see what options I have. If I right click on that, so if I go out of this and right click on this, it takes me to, this one, it takes me to Ranger. I know I'm a Ranger, but I'm actually running warrior stuff, so I should see this. So it's not even taking me to the right place based on what I have equipped. And I think that's where I would like to see this adjusted quite a bit. I don't know what you'd call it, but there needs to be another tab in here, or revamp this, or have it like when you're selecting a support gem, you've got the option down here to show recommended. It would be very helpful if this was like the recommended screen, and then I could untoggle that and just see all gems, or number one, I would love to see them actually look at the weapon you've got. This is the takeaway that I'd like to see. Number one, if I right click on a skill gem and I have a specific weapon installed or equipped, it should take me to that list of stuff that affects that weapon. And I would love it if it included everything that can affect that weapon. Like on bow skills, you've got Sniper's Mark and Voltaic Mark. I would love to see that as an option with all of this stuff. I know I've got a mace on, but all those other things can apply as well. And the same thing goes if I have a bow. I would see Infernal Cry, Shockwave Totem, the shield stuff. Now, if I had I'm sorry, not a bow, but a spear, if I had a shield equipped. If I don't have a shield equipped, I don't see those. So I would love to see some better options in there, some better tagging in here. If I type the word spear in, it should show anything that says any martial weapon. Like, I think those are kind of things that would help this screen tremendously. I know they've added this equipped one, but this feels too much training wheels. I would like to have this revamped to where it's more kind of the all-encompassing all gems, but where it just shows what I have equipped. Not the gems I have equipped, but the gear that I have equipped, whether it's a shield or a mace or a spear or whatever. I would like it to take me to all the options for that available weapon, shield, whatever choices that I have in there. So at any rate, I don't know if this is a problem to anybody else. It's been annoying me, and the more I get into this and the more I try different builds out and I try tinkering with weird things like what I'm doing here with a mace skill on a ranger build, it just starts getting really aggravating. And now I have to start digging around through all these other menus trying to figure out what options I do have. Or I have to make sure that if I do click on all gems, I have to type the keyword martial. Spear's not going to get me there. Mace isn't going to get me there. You know what I mean? Like, I have to start paying attention to a lot of things. It would just be nice if this was a lot better interface that really gave you all the details for the build that you are currently working on automatically, not having to start off at the wrong weapon for the, start off with the class weapon and then have to switch or, go through all this other stuff. It would just be nice to have a lot more tailored to the build that you are currently working on. They're there with what you've got equipped. It shouldn't be that hard to look at the weapon you've got, and it shouldn't be that hard to add more tags that if you type in mace, it surfaces the martial thing. So anyway, that's my soapbox for today. That's going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.